Hey, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be teaching you how I drew this Gojo versus Sukuna drawing. Yeah, very nice. Let's get right into it. Let me open that time-lapse replay. So the first thing is just getting a rough idea of how I want this to look. So I just using like a medium hard brush. I was just drawing shit out, just trying to get an idea. I wanted. You'll see here that I had a different idea of what I wanted to do, but then I was like, this face is too fat. Let me look up how to do faces again. And then I saw this really interesting thing about focal points, which I'll pause right here, if I could. Okay, so focal points, basically the intersection of all those lines are supposed to represent the interesting parts of a drawing, and that's where I was thinking of putting all my all my important stuff. So his red amplification would be right there, and then his eyes would be in the top right here, and top right there, just somewhere around there, just because it's supposed to attract something, I don't know. But yeah, just going back, just starting off with the sketch. So I start off with a circle for the head, and then a little, I almost said paraboloid, I'm a math geek. Parallelogram right there for his chin. And then for the rest of his body, it was just more so imagining how he's going to contort. So you'll see that first line right there from his neck will represent his spine pretty much. And then I'll just draw around that basically. Circles for the shoulders, just really roughing it out right now. So here, I didn't like how small his arm was compared to the rest of him. So considering the fact that his arm's supposed to be a lot more forward. So I changed that. And then his arm, I swapped. And then you'll notice here, for his head, I just made it smaller because I didn't like the proportion of how it looked to everything. And speaking of proportion, I don't know if you guys saw that Nick Fuentes and Piers Morgan podcast or interview, but that was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in a long time. Piers Morgan is always painting me as somebody who's always trying to catch people saying some stupid shit, but how can you catch somebody who just doesn't give a fuck? Anyway, and speaking of proportions, there was always this thing going on about some proportion of white school shooters to African American gang violence members. I don't know. So it was stupid, but I just thought it was funny how he's just calling Piers dumb and stuff. But anyway, so we're back to this. So from here, I'm just refining the sketch over and over again. See, his face looks really wonky there. So then I just fixed his chin and then drew his neck guttural right there. And then we get to Sukuna. Sukuna was kind of an afterthought. I wasn't really planning on drawing him initially, which is why he wasn't in the initial layout, as you can see there. So I just drew a rough sketch of him. And when it comes to these kind of drawings, references are definitely gonna be your best friend. As someone who hates references and shit, I actually just despise them. You gotta understand using a reference doesn't mean you're copying something. It's just you're using it to help you create what you want to do. Because at some point, once you get used to drawing it, you'll need a reference less and less. And that's what I like to imagine I did here. The only thing I used a reference for was, what's it called, his hair, because I had no idea how his hair worked. So I looked up something online. I'm talking about Gojo's hair in this case. But now I just get to drawing Sukuna. His face, he's going to have red, a whole lot of red. Playboy Cardi shoved in his face. Draw the ribbons there. And then I'll just get onto line art. So I draw the outside with a thicker brush. But I just draw the outside with a thicker brush. Just so I can lighten up on the inside. But that clearly isn't what I did here. I used a thicker brush because I figured, hey, since it's closer to the camera, I might as well make it thicker, so it's appears thicker. But then you'll see, so right here, this is when I just get to the coloring phase. So initially, I was just gonna make this a black and white drawing, because like I wasn't really good at coloring, but so I drew red right here. For in order to make red look as nice as I did, it was literally just creating circles from different colors and then using the smudge tool to just like drag that outline out. And then for that faded background, it was just creating another layer and just like putting Gaussian blur on it. That was it. So yeah, now we're getting back to it. Here I'm experimenting around. I'm drawing a background for some reason because I didn't like, because I actually wanted to put some effort into this drawing now, because this is about the point where I decided, you know what, I don't want this to just be black and white. I want to have an actual like background and stuff. You know, I say that, but the background still looks like shit. So, you know, that's like what's going on there. So now here I got the base colors. You'll notice that initially I created a gray thing here. That's supposed to be like all of the color that should be within like the parameters of my line art. So from there, it's like I can just clipping mask anything so that it doesn't go outside the boundary, you see? So it doesn't go outside the boundary of it. And so I just made my base colors, and then I did an overlay of like a light red. You'll see here. Yeah, I mean, you can see like a flash right there. Yeah, like the flash of red. I lowered the opacity because I'm just trying to make it like emphasize that like the whole thing is like everything's being affected by red. And then in order to create the lighting, I just erased parts of it. So like whatever was closest to red would just be like lit up. And then I blended everything with the smudge tool. I was thinking of giving it like more like of a effect here, but I was like, nah, this is more. And I don't know what I just did here. This is just a freak out. I put a red overlay in the background just to represent how much red is going, like, hold out of red. And then I was like, I don't like how simple this looks, so I'm going to go ahead and add a bunch of action lines and stuff just to show, like, the repulsion force of red. So then I started, like, doing this to the fingers. And, you know, that's the great thing about drawing is that nobody can tell you if you're doing it right or wrong because, I mean, art is just important to you. But yeah, now I'm just like putting the shadows up now. So first we got the lighting, then we have the base shadow. Now we need a deeper shadow for like stuff that's away from the light. So you'll see like here, I put that base shadow. I just did a multiply layer on top of the skin with the same color as the skin. And now I'm just adding background details. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Key takeaways here are where you're putting your focal points of your drawing, just like right there. And then like just looking up references to like try and get the body figure correctly. Because you know, you start off with shapes, right? But then like over time you start refining it more and more until eventually you actually get a body shape that works. So yeah, I mean that's how I do it. But I couldn't really get this far if I wasn't consistently practicing and copying stuff. So like, I mean, I know everyone hates to hear that you have to practice, but it's literally all it is. Because I mean, you can't really be a genius unless you're like gifted in some sort of way, and I'm certainly not gifted. So this just took a lot of time for me to draw. Well, I mean, I allegedly this took me 4 hours and. Oh wait, no, this is just a 4-minute time lapse. Never mind, I'm tweaking. But yeah, color here for the color here for the clipping mask, and then from there you can just add all your base colors on top of it. And then another clipping mask, another overlay of just the red, and then just erase certain parts of it. Yeah, I'm not really good at these tutorial videos, but like this is like what I can remember from my drawing process. So just I don't know. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments. All right, see ya.